Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to ZWIFT Community Live's ZWIFT Community Chat. Weekly, we have a guest or two or three on to chat about all the awesomeness that's in the ZWIFT community, as well as looking at some inside stuff, usually over at ZWIFT HQ. Last week we had, or in the week before as well, we had the Quest Wizard, Johnny Noblet, also streaming manager over at ZWIFT HQ. This week, we've got the honor of having Mr. Jordan Rapp on with us, and he is going to be chatting all things ZWIFT workout mode with us. Jordan's also ITU world champion in 2011, so anything related, and I would think running related, Jordan's going to be able to be chatting with us about. Jordan, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's exciting. It's been a great journey since end of September when I started at ZWIFT. I was a member of the community and now part of the back end.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. And you've been using ZWIFT for quite a while then, Jordan, it sounds like?
Yeah, I started, my first introduction to ZWIFT was December 2015 for the World Bicycle Relief ZWIFT-a-thon that they had then. I think that was maybe the first one. So I have been a long time supporter of World Bicycle Relief. Just wrapped up my 9th annual fundraiser. So I've raised, I think now about $600,000 over 9 years.
Oh my goodness.
For World Bicycle Relief. And then, yeah, I was one of the leaders of the ride in 2015. That was my introduction to ZWIFT. And then last winter, sort of December 2016, January 2017, when we had really the first wet winter in a long time in Southern California, I thought, I've never been much of a guy for riding the trainer, but it's wet outside. That's the time of year when it gets dark early. So even if, it's a dry time of day, it might be dark. And I just started riding on ZWIFT, and then just sort of, it became a habit. We had enough rain that I sort of was forced to do it. And then I came to really enjoy it, and then just kept on riding, and initially started talking to the folks at ZWIFT about sort of a more traditional kind of athlete sponsorship type thing, and there was some interest there. And then John Mayfield said, well, there's one other thing, probably you're not interested, I know you're racing, but we'd be interested in maybe having you work full-time. And I said, I'm very interested. And I think 9 days later I signed a contract, and that was that.
Nice. Very cool. Very, very cool. It looks like I'm really glad to have you there. And every time I chat with you about anything workout, anything ZWIFT in general, you seem extremely excited actually about all of the stuff in the background that's going on that can make awesomeness in ZWIFT into reality. I've always noticed that in our conversations. It looks like our Facebook feed for some reason is having trouble reconnecting. Johnny is actually on it with us, it looks like here. He's going to pull up a new one. For some reason it came offline, so as soon as that does go, we're going to get more into this. I have no idea why it ended, though. But we do have some chatters, though, it looks like, over at YouTube as well as Twitch. Maybe while we're waiting for the Facebook to come back online, we can pull in some chat from them as well. So I am watching the YouTube chat as well as the chat over at Twitch. So if you guys, throughout the broadcast, if you'd like to bring in any comments or questions about workout mode, make sure to do so. And then also, if you do want to watch the VOD back, the video on demand back on any of this information, you can always do that on our YouTube as well. I'm seeing Joel Rodriguez jumping in, and it's fitting to be crazy today. He says, good to see you there, Joel. And I really appreciate you jumping in with us. We'll also be covering, I know, Jordan, there was a little bit of chat. We can talk about this a little bit later, but the first thing I want to roll into is definitely what is workout mode, what is group workout mode, and then how do we manipulate workouts. But I also hear maybe on the forefront, there's this 4-week plan that you might be running, ending with like an FTP test or something that you might be coaching. Is this going to be something that's going to become a reality?
Yeah. So we can basically any group workout could be any workout. And one of the nice plans, our most popular plan, is our 4-week FTP booster, written by Kevin Poulton of Powerhouse Cycling. And this is really the plan that most people do. And it's a great plan. I actually just finished it. And so as I was doing it and getting into it, I thought this is an awesome plan. I'd love to just run this plan in-group workouts. So the nice thing would be that you could join. We're just going to run it in order, and I'm going to have multiple slots per day for every workout. So the nice thing would be, I'm going to jump into a group workout and do one of the workouts, but then the next day, you could just go into the game, just pick it from the drop-down library and do the next day on your own. So, so you could do half of the sessions in group workouts. You could do half of them on your own, just picking it from the drop down. There's no commitment required in terms of how much you want to do in group workouts, which was a nice thing. But it was, I thought, a great way to highlight this really incredible plan that we already have in the game. And I think everybody, of course, hates doing the FTP test. So it initially started, my idea was like, how do I get people to be sort of more enthusiastic about taking FTP tests? And the one thing was, well, everybody feels better when they suffer together. So the idea was, okay, let's do some group workout FTP tests. But I thought it might be nice to kind of build up to one. So I'm going to run the plan, and then the first ever ZWIFT group workout FTP test will be at the end of the plan. And I will go on, and I think we'll probably have 3 sessions, one for each time zone. And I'll coach people through taking the FTP test. Australia, maybe Europe, I might solicit some help, just so that I think one of them will probably run at the most convenient time, so I'm not leading a FTP test at like 1 in the morning. I am not going to be going full gas. I'm going to be primarily focused on sort of coaching everyone through it, but I promise that I have done it. I actually just did the FTP test, whatever it was now, Sunday, 4 or 5 days ago. And yeah, I remembered how much they hurt. So I thought it would be good to provide a little bit of coaching and support for all of that. And then after that one, that'll be now, assuming I think that we get good engagement, that'll be a regular thing. So you'll regularly be able to join in, I think probably on a weekly basis, a group workout FTP test, so that you can go and suffer alongside other folks.
So we did just get our live back up on Facebook. Hi, everybody over on Facebook. Sorry, our first feed went dead for some reason. Not sure. If you want consistent feeds all the time without the a little bit of sometimes hiccups we do get on Facebook, you can follow us over on Twitch for all of our live content. Twitch.tv/ZWIFT Community Live. We've been live the entire time for that. You can also watch the VOD of this entire broadcast on our YouTube when we're done here. Questions and comments are starting to come in over on Twitch. I am also following the comments over on Facebook, and we'll be bringing those in as well. So if you would like to ask questions of Jordan or myself throughout about workout mode, how to use workout mode, about any of the features we're talking about, we just got done chatting a little bit about a 4-week FTP builder that Kevin Polton put together that you can do. And then at the end of it, Jordan is going to be coaching a group workout through an FTP test to see how the FTP builder actually has worked out. We actually have a question coming through from Jerry Delport, actually saying, how often can you do a 4-week FTP builder? Can I do 4 weeks off, then off 4 weeks off to then start again? Would that be suggested, Jordan? That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, so I mean, typically, like the benchmark for physiology is roughly a 3-week adaptation period for endurance athletes, right? Like when you think about altitude blocks or training blocks, like 3 weeks is a relatively common sort of average. So like I would think, for me, if I was going to say, like, what would I recommend? I would think, yeah, you could do the block, and then I would say it's 4 weeks, and then I would take maybe 4 weeks off, and then I would start it again. Like I was thinking for myself, having just done it, like how soon would I want to kind of do this? And I thought, okay, the last week is the week that you really do a lot of these big benchmarks. You do the 6-minute test, the 10-minute test, and then the 20-minute test. And I thought, okay, you want to give yourself some time to really let that hard work soak in. I mean, the nice thing about the FTP test is it's not only a reflection of all the hard work that you've done, but it in and of itself is an unbelievable workout that then gives you a huge benefit going forward. So it is both a great benchmark and also a great workout. So I would think you'd want to give yourself really 3 weeks to let that sort of hard work soak in. And so for me, I would say, yeah, give yourself 4 weeks is nice just because it's sort of thinking in 4-week chunks, right? Do it, do 4 weeks to kind of focus on maybe your lower end, maybe if you're a crit racer, you might then focus on your sprinting, and then you can go back and I think focus on threshold again. So I would sort of take that approach.
Right on. Gotcha. So a little bit of a break in there, it sounds like, is fine. Now, you definitely don't want to just stop riding the bike.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 2 weeks, I think, is 2 weeks to do it, to take only 2 weeks off, I think would be tough. I mean, it's a really challenging program. And I would think that, doing 4 weeks of that and then giving yourself only 2 weeks, I think that would stack up pretty fast.
Gotcha. And so for that upcoming 4-week builder, that's going to be all focused on, now it's going to be all group workout modes, right? Like each.
Yeah. So
okay,
we're going to basically every day. So the plan is pretty much 6 days a week. I mean, I think there's an optional ride. So there's 7 scheduled days, except for the last week when there's one scheduled rest day. So we're just going to be running everything that's a workout. So every day it would just be, you just look for the group workout, and it would just be, I'm going to pick three time slots, maybe 4, to pick 2 for North America. So, Australia 1, a Europe 1, and then 2 probably for North America to accommodate East Coast and West Coast. And it would you'll just look for, FTP booster, day 1. And then you would just join in. And then the next day, if you didn't want to do the group workout, you could just go into the game and just go into the workout picker and just pick day 2 and then do that on your own. So
Gotcha.
It's an easy plan to follow, whether you want to do, half and half. You could do 1 group workout a week. You could do all the group workouts. You could sort of just pick and choose how you want to follow the plan.
Will be available for the 4 weeks, but you can also do the builder based off of, you can also do the builder on your own time, but you can join people. And the whole idea is to use the group workout and the workout mode individual, which are 2 separate things that we'll talk about here in a second. And then at the end of that, again, there will be a coached, most of them coached, it sounds like, by Jordan, group workout mode, FTP test to see how you guys have gotten the results out of it. And then it sounds like maybe for Australia and some of the more east countries, you might have somebody else jumping in to help out with the FTP test. So again, if you want to get interactive with us, go ahead and chat with us over on Facebook or Twitter. I am following the Twitch as well as the YouTube comments, so bring them right on in. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about how to use workout mode. So I'm logged into the game. Here's my avatar, Jordan, and I'm actually skipped around a little bit on some of the intervals here a little bit, but I have a workout that I just loaded in, but that's not really what we want to look at. What I want to chat about, first of all, maybe I should go backwards a little bit to, can I exit workout mode from here? I can I?
Yeah, so you would just,
oh, there we go. I did it.
Yeah.
So I pushed E, and I pushed this back button in the upper left-hand corner. So if you're in workout mode and you want to get out because you're in the middle of a broadcast with somebody from ZWIFT HQ and you need to get back to get back to the regular screen, you can do that just by pushing E in that back button. So from here, I want to go into workout mode. I just logged into the game. What do I do, Jordan?
So here, just E will take you into pick a workout, and then you can either pick one. So if you look down, you'll see that 4-week FTP booster.
Right there. Yeah, gotcha.
That's the one that we're going to run. So we'll just start on this upcoming Monday with day 1, and then it'll just be, we're just going to march through that. So that's the plan. The nice thing here is, so you can either you can create your own, you create your own workout. The other nice way, just while you're in there though, just pick on one of those workouts. Okay. You just hover over, you'll see the copy button there. You can also copy any workout. Yeah, and then you can use a workout as a starting point. Then you would just click save. So so the copy button is a nice way if you have a workout, like I did the Matt Heyman Roubaix workout the other day, and I was thinking this is a great workout. One way that I would think would be a nice way to progress that workout is that the interval blocks in there are sort of 2 minutes on and then 20 seconds off. And I thought, I just would want to make a version.
Let's chat about
in 60 to 90 minutes to burn.
Okay, right here.
Yeah.
We got a Matt
And then down at
Heyman
the
right
bottom.
here.
Yeah.
And
So
you push
just do
now. Okay,
that.
so here's the workout. Cool.
Yep.
But you're like, hey, in my head, I want to adjust something, and you can push copy, and it makes a whole new copy of it that you can start manipulating. It sounds like, is that right?
Yeah. So like you could just click on those interval blocks. Just click on any one of those.
Okay, cool.
Over the ones with a red. Yeah. Click the hard ones.
This one.
So yeah. So like you could just
the hard
change
ones.
that there. You could change the duration there on the rest. I mean, you could change how long, so the idea would be you could make it go, instead of being 30 seconds, you could change it to 40, 50, whatever it is. Yeah. So my thought was, to make a couple copies of it as a progression, and you would just change it, adding 10 seconds per week to those hard intervals. The one thing that's a little bit confusing is we do say duration and then restoration. That's you can make the restoration harder, and we'll actually we have it scheduled so that it doesn't tell you to rest at whatever 420 watts. that is a known little kind of quirk, and we are fixing it, so it'll say.
Gotcha. Right on. Okay, cool. So I didn't know about this copy thing. That is really great. We got a lot of good questions actually coming in here, but this is so you can take workouts that are already in ZWIFT. So if I were to save, so I'm going to cancel. So if I were to save this right now, this would save to my ZWIFT, my documents, in my documents. You go to the ZWIFT folder and it would be in those workouts there. It'd also obviously be saved, I would think, in here. Now, will this save in custom then? This will save in my custom space.
Yeah, so this will now be in your custom space. So you'll see that now up there at the top. So you could rename it. So you could have, you could rename it Paris-Roubaix, 1, and then you could have 2, or you could say like I'm going to name, this was one of the things I was going to do today was just basically make, the Paris-Roubaix 20-second version, 30-second version, 40-second version. And then, I think, I'm not sure that I'm brave enough yet to go past 40 seconds. 40 seconds seems, having just done the 20-second version, the idea of going twice as long, that seemed plenty hard to me.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense, actually, because it looks like it's about almost 150% of FTP.
Yeah, I think it's exactly. Yeah, the efforts are 150% of FTP. So it's a
I got that percentage.
Workout.
I'm good at math, I guess. I got it right off the bat there.
Yeah, so actually you can just, if you change it, you want to know, just go down, Nathan. You'll see where it says display watts. You can change that to display percent of FTP.
Ah, there, 140. I was wrong.
140.
I was wrong. Okay. I was off. I'm not that good at math. Okay.
Well, you could change it now that you're editing it, right? You could make it 150%.
I could make it 150. Oh yeah, that sounds great. 150 sounds amazing. Okay, so this is cool. Very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and start from scratch. Let's look at this from scratch, hey? As I know you wanted to chat a little bit about that. So what is this? This is new workout. So the way I found this, just so you guys know, if you want, so these are all pre-made, right? All the pre-made stuff here, but then there's custom workout and you can create your own new workout. So what do we do with this thing?
So you can, naming them, just name it whatever you want. There is a character limit, but it's pretty long. So you could just, this is just useful for basically sorting. There's no real use for it other than you remembering what it was that you created. And then it's really just a drag and drop interface. So you just drag those blocks over the tags and things like that. There is a sorting, so you can actually, in your workout library, we also allow you to sort by tag. So you could say like, oh, I want to do an interval workout, I want to do a recovery workout, and then that'll populate all the workouts that not only you've tagged with that tag, but also all the ones that we've tagged that way. So the tags are useful for yourself if you want to just kind of, especially coaches, I think, that build a lot of these things, they can be handy, or if you just really are accumulating workouts. And I think, I started out, I thought at like 4 or 5, and I think I've now gotten so many that it's like I use the tags a lot to remember where I put things.
Where does it place them then in a special folder, or like if I go back to the other, I can come
so
back
if you
in
go
here,
back,
right?
yeah, you can come back in here. So just
Okay,
save
so
that.
Save. Okay. Okay. And how does it
so if you see browse
them?
by tags, just click on that little arrow there,
boom,
and then you'll see all that. Yeah.
Got it. Great. That's
so
very simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in here, and if you want to go back into the workout, just push the
and again, you can use
there.
the copy. You can copy your own workout. So if you make a workout and then you have a bunch of flavors of that, you can also just use the same copy feature that we used for an existing workout to duplicate your own workouts. So if you have slight variations, you only have to really build it once, and then you just would pick an interval and drag it over. So you can do that, and then from here, you can work in watts, you can work in percentage of FTP. The game only thinks in percentage of FTP, so it doesn't matter what you choose to build it. The workout will always scale to your FTP, so it's not like if you build a workout in watts that you then would have to go back and change it. It's just some people find it easier to think in terms of watts, and some people prefer to think in percent FTP. So, but it doesn't actually matter which one you choose there. It doesn't make any structural difference. It's just for you in terms of how you like to think. And then they're all time, and then you would just, we have the different colored blocks there for you, the 6 different blocks. But really you could change anyone. So like Nathan dragged in a zone 1 block, but if you click in the little power bubble, so you can see it just changes, right? So you
can just up the pain as much as you want to 200%. It looks like there, and then
you can
even go over that, right?
Yeah, you can. You can't drag it to 400, but that's the maximum that we allow. Would be 400% of FTP. So,
so I could go 800 watts though. I could go 1200 watts if I wanted. If I like, so you can go up to. So in percentage, I can click here and I go 400%. It looks like there's a limit then. So if you want to,
I think
like a wattage.
The limit I think is 2,000 watts. I think is the limit.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so if you're Andre Greipel and you need to practice your sprinting, you can put in your 2,000 watt interval blocks.
Gotcha. So 645 at 1200, no problem, guys. Let's go.
Yeah. So you can see right there, you've got a 6-minute interval block that is 180, TSS down there. Right. So you get your 2 hours of workout done in 6 minutes. That would be really time efficient.
That would be amazing. Very time efficient. Very time efficient right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is too much fun kind of actually. So, all right. So I got my warm up in there. You can drag these in and they're kind of preset to your zones based on your FTP. So if you want to build a workout very quickly, that's kind of cool. Like, boom, 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 boom. These are all based on your FTP, right? Those zones already set up.
Yeah, everything is. And, and as you get fitter or less, as you get more fit in season, less fit off season, they'll scale to whatever it is that your FTP is set at in game. So, you can share workouts like for coaches, especially, you can build a workout and then send it to somebody else. And it's not like you have to build it specific to them. So we always work in percentage of FTP, regardless of how it is that you're displaying it.
So okay. I build it in here. I send it to someone else. When it loads into ZWIFT for their ZWIFT on their account, it's based on their FTP.
Yep. And that's, that's why group workouts work, right? We all are working from the same basic file, but it's scaling to everybody's own particular FTP.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's really cool. I do have some questions here actually coming in that we should probably get to quick before we get too inundated with them. Any chance the workout builder will get updated to be a bit more user-friendly? Rob, ready? So can you be more specific with your question? Can you be more specific with your question, please? Like, what would it be that you're after so that we can give the feedback directly on what would be more user-friendly? That would be helpful for the question, I think. Anson Michael Brooks, I was looking at workout mode today. I didn't know where to set my FTP slide bar. Where to set my FTP slide bar. So looking at here, so that's a good question, actually. This is not actually the place to set FTP, correct, Jordan? Or am I wrong
No,
about
so
that?
you can set your FTP on the myZWIFT.com. You can set it in ZML. You can set it in your profile within the game, or you can just drag that little slider that you see over there, up or down.
Oh, right here. Oh,
Yeah,
boom.
you know. So there you go. So you can
Got
just
it.
drag
Got it.
that.
Got it. And that will change it in all spaces. If I do
Yeah.
this
So
here.
yeah, and then as soon as you let go, then as soon as you exit out of here, then we'll push that out to.
Okay.
As soon as you were to click the back arrow, as soon as you were to click workout, as soon as you were to basically take an action from here, then that would get pushed out. The other one, while you're out there, though, I'll just say the erg mode is the easiest place to just toggle it on and off, and it does carry through. So whatever you have that just gets set in your preferences file, you can change it with a control bar in the game, but this is the fast place. Just
What
right
is
here.
erg mode? Some people might be like, what?
Yeah.
What is, okay, I don't even know what ERG actually stands for. I just know erg is when the trainer controls things for me in the workout. So do you know what ERG is for?
ERG doesn't, it's not, I mean, it's interesting that it sort of has become a thing where it's all caps because it's not actually an acronym. It's a word. An erg is a unit of work. So if you actually, an erg is, it's a very, very small. A single erg is it's the amount of work that a fly does when a fly does a push-up, right? So like if a fly lands on a puddle of water and drops its head down to suck up a single drop of water.
Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
that's what
This is so crazy.
That's what an erg actually is. And then I think it ends up something like being like I want to say that it's like something like a nanojoule or something like that, or it's some very small fraction of the SI unit. But the way that they ended up defining it was, a fly doing a push-up. But I forget what it actually translates into in terms of what people know as like joules. But it's not very much. I think it's like 1,000th of a joule or something like that.
So you can turn erg mode on and off here.
Right.
Go ahead. And what does it do essentially?
So basically, if erg mode is on, so a technical name for a trainer is really a bicycle ergometer, right? So an ergometer is an ergometer. It's measuring your work output. And so erg mode basically it's instead of measuring it, just measuring it, it then becomes prescriptive. So it forces you to hold a certain power, right? So if you have your wattage set to, in this case, like 190 watts, then regardless of how fast you pedal. So if you pedal harder, then the resistance goes down. If you slow your cadence, the resistance goes up so that your power output then remains constant. So it's interesting because for a long time, I really did not ever use it because I thought, like teaching yourself pacing is super important. And I do believe that, but I also think that I've sort of started to use it more because I think it's a useful tool where sometimes it can be good to force you to spin easier than you might, so if you have really hard intervals to really force yourself to kind of back off in between, erg mode can be good for sort of both enforcing a ceiling and a floor, right? It just, whatever you set, that's what the trainer is going to make you hold. And I think there's times when that can be really, really powerful, both for reasons of sort of forced rest, but then also forced work, right? Where, you might just kind of back off a little bit, but then with erg mode on, the trainer doesn't let you do that.
So speaking about erg mode, there's two questions coming from Luke Peterson. He looks super interested in this specific question, actually, coming through here. And he referenced almost to this. So can you bail on erg mode during a workout? Not that I would need to, of course. And then he also said, what if the spiral of death is about to get me and I need to mash a button quick before my trainer locks up? Is there a keyboard is there a keyboard shortcut to toggle it up or to toggle it off, I think is what, or on or off, I think is what he's getting
at.
at.
So there's not a one key. And I think we're hoping to bring a one key solution to probably both the game and ZML. But in the short term, it's just on iOS, you would just tap the screen. On tvOS, you just would move on the remote. But then on Mac and PC, you just hit the up arrow, and then that brings up the control bar. And then there is a little button it's right there. I think it's the second button that's available to you in workout mode.
Can I just do it live? So I do.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Oh, I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, the control bar is like, it's our best kept secret, unfortunately. I think
for
it's
workout
an easy
mode,
way.
during workout mode. I mean,
yeah,
I should use workout mode often because I use the camera views a lot, and I've seen that below for the camera views. But so up arrow, and then right here, and then I enter. Is it enter?
So you would just click on it.
Oh, I just click on it. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so the ones that come up in the control bar for you are up arrow, and then in the control bar you can skip a block. So like if you're in an interval block and you just are done, you can skip that block.
Okay.
Or if you have another interval block
I wasn't
coming
showing
up.
you guys. I was not showing them here. So here, look. I just pushed up
that
arrow.
one. Yeah.
Boom.
So you can the one all the way on the left will skip the block that you're in. The other one pauses the workout so that if you need to go, run to the bathroom or whatever, you can pause the workout.
Workout. 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so that skips a block. So like if you don't want to do that second round of intervals, you could skip. You can pause a workout. Pausing is often
workout
like
paused. I've never seen that before. The workout is paused. Yes.
So I use that to calibrate. Like let's say you're kind of warming up, and then you're doing a really hard set, and you want to make sure you get to values right. Like I would ride, and then I would pause the workout, and then do my trainer calibration in the pairing screen, and then bring the workout back up. And then of course there's the erg mode on off, and then when erg mode is. Those are the FTP bias, the arrows. There's another one, another set.
Ah, look at that. So it's not just on the left-hand side of the screen.
Nope.
It's also
and
here.
If you turn erg mode off, you'll see another set of arrows pop up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they look exactly the same, but these ones adjust the trainer resistance. So if you have erg mode off, then you can manually control the trainer resistance. So if you click one of those, you'll see your orange, the trainer resistance bar. So turn it off, and now click one of the ones now that's further away.
Yeah, I see. Okay, this one.
And then click one of those up or down, and you'll see there's your
a
trainer
bar up there.
Yeah, that's your trainer resistance bar. So if you need to make your trainer,
so
harder
you
or
can
easier.
simulate very high resistance manually.
Yeah, so I mean, this would be a way, like if you're trying to do, low cadence intervals. Low cadence intervals are super challenging to do with erg mode because it's constantly updating. So typically for low cadence intervals, I just turn erg mode off and then manually up the resistance on the trainer until
this is an awesome tool. Very cool. No, seriously, this one right here is really good because, like, I've scheduled a lot of force workouts for people, and I go to Watopia Mountain, figure it out, up, down, and that'll help you, or use workout mode and purposely go into the spin of death and try and work your way through it, or whatever it is, any way that I'm trying to do this, I just go here and go, let's just up it. This is about right. And you can kind of feel out where that resistance is right for you. So
yeah,
awesome.
And those buttons are also in ZML. The only one of these buttons that's missing from ZML is the erg mode on off button, and I promise that it is coming to ZML.
Awesome. Do we have an okay on looking at cool new stuff that might be coming to ZML? I'm wondering.
I'm waiting for the.
Okay.
I'm still waiting.
Okay, cool.
But,
right on. And then what are these other ones? These are just camera views, turn around.
Yeah, those are all the
send
other
a
ones
message.
that you're used to. Yeah, the standard ones are all there.
Okay.
A lot of that, make a U-turn, take a screenshot, change your camera view, send a message, all that stuff is
awesome. We got a lot more questions coming in, actually. Let's see here. So George Caldera this is a good question. Why don't we have the possibility to copy paste several blocks at the same time? Is there any way to build a series of blocks of more than 2 intervals? So I understand what he's getting at there, that in a workout builder, being able to copy an entire section of blocks that I've designed to be repeatable together and then paste those again, right? So any ideas around that, Jordan?
Yeah, so here the easiest way, I mean, this maybe gets a little bit to Rob's question, is actually just editing the file itself. And so when I build workouts, I actually just now, I use a workout builder to do a rough sketch, and then most of it I actually will just edit the file, the raw file.
All right, let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, so
for those who are a little more tech savvy, we're going to take a look directly. Well, okay. Maybe I shouldn't say. Go ahead, Jordan.
You don't need to be that tech savvy. I mean, I think the nice thing here is that you can't really like damage anything. Like if you make a big mistake, the game just will not load the workout. So it's not like you can crash the game. And so you would just open the file. You just right click.
So I want to walk everybody through from desktop. So that would probably be the best way to go. Here's my desktop.
Yeah. So you go into documents I guess it's my documents on Windows and documents on a Mac, and then the
ZWIFT folder. So you can either click, for me on PC, I can do documents here, or I can just click the little file folder down here for File Explorer. That's on here. On Mac, how do you go about it?
So you would just open Finder and then just go into your documents.
Documents, okay. So here's documents, and then I go into my ZWIFT, which is right here, and I probably want to make this a little bit bigger. Oh, whoops. Well, so here's ZWIFT. Let's go ahead and just do this right here, actually. A little bit bigger. And then workouts.
And then this is your custom workout folder. So if someone emails you a workout, you just send them in here. The downloaded folder, like you can make folders, but it doesn't... like if you make a folder, that just makes basically like the equivalent of a folder in the game. So
I'm going to do this one more time so everybody can see it bigger, just in case. Okay. So, because I know it was a lot smaller. I went in to this file finder down here. I went into documents, right? And I clicked on the ZWIFT folder, and then I went into workouts right here. Okay. And then here I have these files, and you don't need any special programs actually to do this. You just need Notepad, which comes on all PCs, or what is it? Is it the same kind of thing in Mac? I don't use Mac.
So on a Mac, it's just text edit is the file, and you just need to use either of those, which are standard installed freeware.
Okay.
So then you would just right click. They're .zwo files. So the first time you'll need to say like open with. So it's a right click and then open with Notepad or open with text.
So right now I have open because I've already opened it with Notepad. There's another open with right here. And then I would look for more apps or just see Notepad, select Notepad. Yes. You're good to go. This is what opens up. Yeah.
So it doesn't take a whole lot to figure out. So a steady, if you look there, right? So the blocks, like in Jorge's case, right? I think it would be, so the duration is the time in seconds, and then the power is percentage of FTP. The pace is for running. So it's it doesn't actually matter. It just sort of gets written in there sometimes for reasons we don't actually know. So a warm up is a ramp. So you can see the power low is the starting power, and then power high is ending power. If you had cadence guides, you would see a cadence value in there. Intervals, you can see intervals T. Repeat is the number of repeats, on duration, off duration. But basically for what Jorge's question, which is how do you do like multiple blocks, you would just basically, if you like, let's say, Nathan, you would just copy those 3 first steady state blocks, like just highlight them.
These 3 right here. 1, 2,
just 3, the first right 3. Yeah, just copy those, and then just copy them, and then you would just basically make a new line, and then just paste them and paste them and paste them, and
it'll figure itself out here as far as
like the indentation and stuff like that doesn't make any difference. Like the fact that one steady state block, for example, is way out there makes no difference. So. You can just
now I can just save this as is, and we'll see a bunch more blocks like this in game.
Yeah. So just file save.
Saved it.
Okay. Yeah, and now you have to relaunch.
I have to
ZWIFT,
restart ZWIFT. Okay, I have to restart ZWIFT.
Yep. No, actually, sorry, you were editing existing workout, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to restart. It's only if you make a workout for the first time, you'll need to restart to have it show up. But if you're editing existing workout, so hit E, and then click on the pencil to edit, and you'll see actually all the new ones show up. Maybe because you were doing the workout.
Yeah, maybe not. No. Here, let me discard. Should I discard? Maybe.
Yeah, discard and then you quit out of the workout.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, now go back and save again because you may have overwritten the changes.
Yeah,
so go back to
gotcha.
Notepad.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because when I've never tried to edit a workout I was in the middle of doing.
So save this right here. Matt Heyman, Perry Rue 1. Okay. And then so now I went back in, saved Perry Rue 1. And now go back to here. Okay.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and click E.
Okay, now hit the pencil.
I'm not seeing anything. Huh. So I have to restart ZWIFT. Maybe.
Yeah.
Unless this is them. Is this them? Actually, it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's them. We were looking at the intervals.
We were looking at the wrong place.
There you go.
Yeah, there they are. They're all right there.
You can see them all copied and pasted. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking we had edited the intervals.
Yeah, me too.
I think we both were. So yeah, you can see that they all just stack right there. So sure, if you're, I think a common use case, right, is you're building a 3-step interval and you want to just do it. So there you just copy, paste, as many times as you want.
So you can do it in the text editor in just Notepad, copy and paste the text editor. A little bit more, file savvy, just a little bit. It's actually not that complicated at all. Like that was really easy. And being able to figure out where each one of the workouts starts and ends maybe takes a little bit of time, but definitely pretty simple there. So
yeah, the nice thing, of course, is like you don't have to restart ZWIFT, is so you can bail out, you can make some changes in Notepad, and then you can see like what it looks like in the game. So I think it is pretty fast. And like I said, you're not going to ruin. It's not like, oh, you're going to crash ZWIFT. Like if you make it and you make a big mistake, it's like the workout just won't load. So I think it's not like if you mess something up that somehow you could delete, all of your stats, right? The worst case scenario is just that you make a bunch of changes to a workout and then it doesn't load. So you can kind of feel free to hack around in there without really fearing like you're gonna somehow ruin something important in your account.
George actually says, thank you, Nathan and Jordan. I get it. And you saved me a lot of time in the future. Awesome. Very cool. If we accomplished anything today, we saved you a ton of time in the future there. That's awesome. Nathan, any thoughts on trainer difficulty settings? We were chatting about that actually just a moment ago. Jason, actually. So Jason Flores is asking a great question, and this is awesome. I didn't even know this existed. You can just change them right in here. Like if you need to, there you go. You're good to go. There was also a question about pausing the workout. You can pause and unpause, and I didn't know that existed as well. Right here, push the up arrow, get the options. Bam, paused. It's right there. Trainer difficulty manual is on. If ERG mode is off, you can turn ERG mode back on, and then the trainer difficulty goes away. So then it's calculated off of the workout itself. Now, question there on free ride mode. We were chatting a little about free ride mode earlier, and so if I'm going to create a new workout and I push free ride in here, there's a cool little thing that you showed me about, like, what does this naturally go toward, or what is the default setting with free ride mode, Jordan?
Yeah, so free ride is basically just is the equivalent of basically it turns erg mode off. So if you were doing a workout and you had erg mode on and then you drag in a free ride block, that automatically turns erg mode off because there's no wattage target. and then in a free ride block, you those arrows that we showed earlier would automatically show up, right? So in a free ride block, you would always be able to control the trainer resistance. But we basically assume when you drag a free ride block in that, like with most of the workout, we just allow you to set the trainer resistance as if the road were flat, right? As if the road gradient is 0. So you're riding along, you want it to be harder, you know. It doesn't do anything with the ZWIFT terrain. So you're, from a speed standpoint, we're always calculating, you know, your power output to figure out how fast you're going, so that it's not like even if the trainer thinks it's a quote unquote flat road, if you're going uphill, you're still going to be going slower because we calculate that separately. But in terms of how it feels, it basically feels like it's just on a flat road. You know, the road gradient is 0. But you can actually tweak that in the back end. So if you just save this, Nathan, yeah. So, and then you go back.
Okay.
Yeah. So go into Notepad. Pop
I'll
up.
give you Notepad. Here we go.
Okay. And then let's close this one and open new workout.
There it is.
Okay, so you'll see, if you can zoom that up, you'll see free ride duration in seconds, and then you'll see this thing that says flat road equals 1. So if you change that to 0 and click save, we now, during a free ride block, interpret the terrain of ZWIFT. So you could do structured intervals, and then you could have a free ride block, and then if you manually throw that flag, now you will feel the terrain of ZWIFT. So instead of
that's saved only in this workout, then? In this workout, free ride mode now does a and will that'll communicate to any workout you share with anyone. So if you're writing workouts for people and you want to give them the natural terrain of ZWIFT rather than just a flat resistance from ERG mode, you can put that 0 in there and it'll actually give you the terrain rather than the 1, which gives you just flat road. Is that right, Jordan?
Yes.
You got that?
So, yeah. Yes. So this is super popular with pros who often will do like really long workouts in ZWIFT. And Kevin Poulton, who coaches a ton of his athletes with set ZWIFT sessions, like he'll do a structured warm-up, structured intervals, and then he'll give them a long free ride block in the middle. But for the free ride block there, it's like he just wants it to be as if like they were outside. So they just go and they're just riding the terrain. So he'll have structured warm-up, structured intervals, a long free ride block with the flat road equals 0. So they're just riding the natural terrain of ZWIFT, you know, harder uphill, easier downhill. And then, you know, he'll do another block of structured intervals and then a structured cool down. And that's really his favorite way to write a workout. And I think if you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to do like, I remember doing some long workouts, you know, for say Ironman or half Ironman stuff, you know, 2.5 or 3 hours on the trainer is a long time. And if most of that is going to be free ride block, this is, I think, a way more enjoyable way to do it. You know, so I would say often do like a 2.5 hour workout that might have had an hour of structured riding and 90 minutes of free ride. And it's way more fun to just ride the natural terrain of ZWIFT for those 90 minutes than it is to just be on a flat road.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. That's a cool, yeah, especially. And I remember those workouts where you're doing intervals up front, and then you got this block in the middle that you're like, what do you do with it? And that's kind of a cool option too for a coach or anyone who's writing any workouts, writing your own workouts, to throw right in the middle of there just what's ZWIFT going to bring at me, because that's what you would do outside anyways, in between those intervals that you have to do later. So that's a really, because a lot of times you split things up sometimes in those longer workouts.
Yeah, and this also falls into the category of things that you know, I want to bring to workout mode, so that, you know, there would just be a flat road free ride and then a terrain free ride block that you could drag in, so that, you know, we would just make it so that you could do it from right in here.
Yeah.
That's certainly on the to-do list.
Awesome.
Another one I think that we would like is some people would like to be able to actually have the flat road feature off for the whole workout, and there's no way to do that right now. But that is something also that I think I want to make happen at some point this year, so that, you know, when you're doing a race, you might have to sprint going downhill. You might have to try and kind of soft pedal and really control it going uphill. I think that having intervals where, that it's not only is it not in erg mode, it's also not even a flat road. So, you're doing an all-out sprint up to the radio tower, right? Sometimes that happens. And it's nice to be able to use the terrain. So I think giving coaches and athletes the ability to use the natural terrain or virtual terrain, I guess, of ZWIFT more easily is certainly something that I want to explore more and see if we can figure out some ways to make that easier for our users.
Looking through here, that I like that idea about being able, because I was on a power tap hub for a very long time on a traditional dumb trainer, and just using workout mode really. But then I moved to a smart trainer with the power tap hub and the smart trainer at the same time. And so I was on a power beam and had the hub, and I wanted to be able to feel the ups and the downs in the game, but at the same time control my own power as it was going on. That was definitely. And then obviously I guess it doesn't matter when it comes to a smart trainer. If you're on a smart trainer, you just can throw down the power as it's going through and experience the undulations in the game. So that would be cool to see that for sure. To just have kind of more of a free ride, no flat road all the way through, and do the intervals at the same time, kind of like you would outside. So Mike Larick is coming through saying, thanks guys. Ability. Okay. So a couple of more questions here real quick. And then I want to talk about group workout mode. So Lee Prouty has a lot of questions about, I'm not sure what he's getting at about why do workouts not lap count? Do you know, is that actually a thing? I'm not sure what he's getting at there. Do you have an idea what he's talking about there?
Not sure. I mean, if you're on a lap course like the Volcano, you'll still throw the lap counter.
Yeah.
Maybe I think, we do have a relatively common request that's basically, if you're walking through intervals, like we don't sort of give you information of what you have done. That's something that we've talked about. Like, you couldn't see, for example, like what was your average heart, like if you're doing, a set of intervals, you can't see what your average heart rate was for the first interval versus the second interval versus the third. So maybe he's talking about something in there that we don't sort of break out information in the laps, in terms of display. It's the HUD, if you compare it to say something like a Garmin where there's a feature like, what was my average heart rate for that last interval? What was my average power? There's a lot of that stuff that we
gotcha.
Don't display.
Yeah. It's mainly the display is going to be and you can see the workout that you've done. Well, I don't want that workout because there's only one interval in it, but this one right here, you get your lap count on the left-hand side there. So you don't really need a lap count essentially, if that's what we're getting at there. But,
I think maybe it's more information. That's typically the most common request, right? Is I'd like more information about what I had done in that workout.
Gotcha. Okay. One more question. A lot are coming through about Apple TV and iOS actually. So, how do you open workouts on Apple TV or iOS while or after a workout? So I don't interact with those platforms. It sounds like though it's kind of like the Join Rider feature on PC where you have to do it at the opening screen and then you have to reload Zwift. Is that correct? Or
yeah. So, I mean, this is part of why, like at the end of an iOS ride, like you don't exit the game. Like you just get taken back to the initial screen. You'd have to save the ride, but on PC, when you save, it sort of saves and exits. Whereas on iOS and Apple TV, it saves and then brings you right back to the drop-in, what we call the drop-in screen, which is like where you pick a route and everything like that. But there is no equivalent. Yeah, there's no equivalent of the E key. So in that sense, like if you're going to do 2 workouts, it's going to be 2 separate rides. There's no way that you could sort of do a workout, hit the E key, and then immediately do another workout. Yeah, there is no for iOS and Apple TV, there is no equivalent to the E key shortcut.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Currently.
That's good. They're very helpful. Very helpful. Let's see if there's anything else that came through, and it doesn't look like it. Or one last one from Ryan Van Preit saying, ability to toggle power in top left with a watts per kilogram in regular ride mode. Well, we're not talking about regular ride mode today. We're talking about workout mode. And in regular ride mode, I'm not sure you would need to do that at all. It's not going to be controlled by
I think maybe she's just asking for a display, right? So that like in the riders list, we show your power in watts per kilo, but we show your power always in absolute watts. So maybe he's just saying he'd rather always see his own power in watts per kilo.
In the upper left. That's not a bad idea. I like that, right?
I mean, there's a lot of that. I mean, this is one of the most common requests, I think, is basically just more customized options, right? Like you could configure, any Garmin display to show your power in watts per kilo. I think people just would like to have more control. Like that certainly is a common request. They'd like to be able to customize the HUD the same way that they customize, their Garmin or their Wahoo. So we hear you on that. I mean, it's just, I think that's, I would say that changes to the HUD are coming. I think, the 2 most common requests are either I want to customize the HUD or I want to get rid of the HUD. That's another, like, I just want to ride. So you have people who are the data nerds like me who really want to see a very specific information, and other people, they're like, I just want to ride. I don't want to see any information. And those are, I think, probably are some of our most common requests. And I mean, I would say that we hear you on that, and it's just, I mean, there's only, unfortunately, 24 hours in the day, and so many developers and all of that.
Looking through here real quick, Rob, ready? And then we're going to get into a little chat about group workout mode. We've talked pretty much. Before we move on to group workout mode, have we chatted about everything you wanted to get at with individual workout building and how it works and how to use individual workout mode?
I think so. I mean, I think really I think because it's something where you can't really do any harm to anything important, right? Like you're not going to delete your stats. You're not going to break the game. I think encouraging people to just get in there and sort of see how the workouts are built, because they really are pretty intuitive. I think people are so computer savvy these days that, getting in there and just saying like, oh yeah, like I feel comfortable kind of working in this and learning just how to sort of tweak these workouts is great. The only thing I think I would add is that Training Peaks, you can, if you're a coach, you're used to using the Training Peaks workout builder, you can easily export any Training Peaks workout to ZWIFT as a ZWO file, and then you would just then drag it into that workouts folder to have it come up. But of course, then we also have sync, so that if you have a structured workout schedule, you just pull it into the game automatically, and then you'll just find it in that workout selection tab. There's a Training Peaks tab if you have a Training Peaks account synced to your ZWIFT account, and you'll just see your workout of the day just right in there.
So it would be in here.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom.
At the bottom.
At the very bottom, the last tab would say Training Peaks, and that's there. And that works for both biking and running, because right now you cannot write run workouts. The workout creator isn't yet functional for running, but you can write workouts in Training Peaks, and they'll sync here.
Awesome. Very
so if
cool.
you want to do custom workouts for running, you got to do it through the Training Peaks and then have your accounts paired. But I think that's also a really powerful tool.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. But it's a powerful tool for coaches as well, that they can use the Training Peaks structured workout builder, and then that workout will just show up right in ZWIFT, ready for their athletes to do.
Quick question, moving into group workouts, and then we'll chat a little bit about that, and I'll let you go then. I know we've been here for a while. I mean, people are very interested in group workout, in workout mode and group workout mode, obviously. So, but if you drop a free ride into a group workout, will everyone still stay together? I would assume that that's just kind of how the event works, right?
Yep. Yeah. So something like the, of course, the FTP test is done during a free ride block. There's no change. So this is why we will be able to run the FTP test as a group workout, because the free ride block doesn't make any difference. Like I've led plenty of group workouts that have had free ride blocks in them, and typically, like a lot of folks like to use the free ride block at the end instead of a cool down block, like the ramp cool down. Because it's kind of like, you just never know at the end. Like sometimes people just want to be done with the structure. So I really like the structured warm up, the ramp warm up, but then a free ride cool down. And it works fine.
That's great. I like that a lot, especially in a group ride that all sticks together then with that free ride. That's a pretty great feature. So a little chat then about what's coming up. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but a really cool 4-week FTP builder that's going to end in, and this is starting this Monday, right, Jordan?
Yep.
This Monday, you can do a 4-week FTP builder, the Kevin Polton FTP builder program. And then at the end of that, now how long between that and the test? Or is it at the end of the FTP builder, there's a test and it'll be like a test day that's like to the whole of ZWIFT kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a 4-week plan and the very last workout. So, start on Monday and then just whatever the 4th Sunday after that would be will be the last workout of the plan is the FTP test.
It's ZWIFT test day. It's ZWIFT ultimate suffering day.
So, I think that my goal was really how do we get people to do FTP tests more often. The other one that I have that I'm gonna start scheduling is, I know a lot of people, they just love to race, and so I'm gonna have some what I'm gonna call FTP races. And so so the idea will just be that it'll be a race that will finish up the epic KOM climb. So I'll have some beginner ones that will go up the backside because the backside is a little bit faster. So the idea is that, you need on the backside, even sort of beginners would still be sure to get 20 minutes of just steady climbing. And then for more advanced riders, we'll go up the front side, because there's that bit of a lead in too. And so the idea would be you could use a race to generate a 20-minute best average. But of course, you want kind of a steady climb because we're looking for a best average power, and of course, not best normalized power. So that's where we're going to, just have some races that will finish with a trip up the epic KOM to allow you to just basically race your way to a best 20-minute power, as opposed to having to just take the test. Because I know some people, they just can't get their head around, like, okay, I'm just going to do this 20-minute test. Whereas if you tell them they got to go race hard for 20 minutes, it's like, that's no big deal.
Having those others to push you around you is I think that's a great idea, actually. And I've gotten some of my best peak powers for sure from racing out on ZWIFT. That's for sure. It's definitely pushes you to chasing those pixels is a whole new level. So anything though, we talked a lot about individual workout mode as well as building workouts. As we're finishing up here, is there anything for group workout mode that you want to talk about besides the FTP builder, the 4-week FTP builder you're going to be doing with that coaching thing and this idea of racing to FTP? Anything else around group workout mode you kind of want to chat about?
I think, group workout mode is kind of funny. I would say that two of the things is one is that, it literally is a no drop ride. So, I think for people who they're nervous, there is no pressure. You can come in with an FTP that is whatever value, and you'll be able to ride with other people. And it's really a great experience. I think it's funny because you think, okay, I can't break off the front and I also can't get dropped. How motivating is this really going to be? And the answer is it's surprisingly motivating. Like I thought, what's this going to be like? But it ended up being a really great experience. And I think people, we started them, I want to say the beginning of October, and they've just become, hugely popular. The one question we get a lot is, why are they so slow? And we're this is definitely a work in progress. We obviously, in order for people to not get dropped, we have to kind of tweak things algorithmically, and that algorithm is a work in progress. And I think one of the things that's interesting is that, they are slower, and yet we do get feedback from some novice riders that are like, hey, group workouts are really fast. And I think that's one thing that for me to sort of tell people is important, I think, for giving perspective, is that, yeah, for you, so I actually ran some numbers. The average across all group workouts is that group workouts as an average 16.8 miles an hour. All rides in Zwift average 18.4 miles an hour, and then all group rides as an average 21.5. But I think it's important for a lot of people to know that 16.5 miles an hour is still pretty fast for a really novice rider. And so the idea why we biased it to be slower is we didn't want people to set times in group workouts that they could then never beat on the road, right? Like a lot of people, a huge number of our users are Strava users, and we didn't want people to say like, oh, I only set that personal best on, the KOM or the sprint because I was in a group workout and I was getting pulled along by this algorithm that keeps people together. And so we were really trying to be respectful of that. Obviously, you in a group workout having going slower than normal, we felt like that's no big deal because you're going to go out and you're going to get a best effort. But we really didn't want to pull slower riders to best efforts that they'd then not be able to meet. So that's why we biased it that way. And that's why they are slower than by quite a bit than normal. But we are always looking to really refine that and trying to get the right balance in terms of still feeling normal, but still but then not kind of rocketing slower riders to PB that they'd then never be able to break.
How often are group workouts taking place, and are you running any?
So I try to lead at least one a week, but I haven't yet sort of locked in a definitive one. I led the slow twitch indoors ride the past 2 weeks, but I'm gonna try and find a day where I sort of say this is my time and I'm always going to lead. I ride on Zwift probably 6 days a week, but I tend not to do it at the same time. So I'm going to try because I do love leading them, and I've led a bunch. But they run basically every hour. I try and make sure that there's at least one an hour, and then during peak times, even one more like every 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's always a group workout to do almost on the hour in Zwift.
Yeah, pretty much, and they do leave roughly on the hour. And I think, had some talks today about if we could find a better time, is there a better time? Like, should they leave at 10 after the hour, 20 after the hour, or something else? Right now, we sort of try and have them leave about on the hour, but always receptive and trying to use our analytics tools to make sure that we're giving people the best time slot. So if you have, feedback like that is always welcome. If you feel like we're missing a time slot, there's a time when you're riding Zwift and there's not a convenient group workout, just give us a shout and see what we can do. Cause this has really been a new thing for us. And we're trying to just make it so that it serves when people are wanting to do them. So, yeah.
So, Greg, Leo, actually second overall in the West series, in the crit series right now. Last night we saw him racing. He says he loves group workouts, and he's saying, let's get a 2x20. He wants to just straight suffering. It sounds like Greg, Leo.
I think we have 2x15. 2x15 okay. is a pretty, I schedule that one not super often, but I think the 2x15 is probably like twice a day. But Leo, if you want 2x20, just drop an email, to our sort of events at Zwift.com. I will see that. Just tell me what time you want to run 2x20, and I will schedule that. And then
he says he needs encouragement to get through them. He needs the encouragement just to get through them. They are very difficult. I used to go to the mountain just to get through them, and had the live stream so that I had people witnessing. And that's kind of almost what's going on in group workout too. You have witnesses of your workout with you coming alongside, almost making sure that you get it done, especially if you have a good leader. They're watching. So
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm trying to get more of our leaders to adopt things like YouTube or Twitch. Discord has been popular, but I think Twitch and YouTube gaming are both overtaking Discord as a platform for leaders. So we're trying to get our leaders to do more of that. So hopefully if you enjoy that, let your leader know. If they are doing Twitch, that you're enjoying it. If they're not doing Twitch, maybe suggest that they do. And, Johnny is always available, and Johnny and I are going to work on basically some guides about how to actually lead a workout on Zwift, so that we have some resources for our community so that they can do that more easily. How do you stream? So just some basic primer stuff. Because we really feel like, that the Twitch leading thing is a lot of fun, and it really adds another dimension.
So then group workout modes, get it out there on the hour, almost every hour out on Zwift, and during peak time sounds like even more often. The 4-week FTP builder is coming up this Monday with a coached day of FTP tests at the end of it. So starting this Monday, and then 4 weeks, and then a test day, kind of like a Zwift FTP test day. That's kind of cool. But then also, I know you do have a podcast that's going on, that's coming up here. You're doing alongside, I believe it is Hendy and Rowe. Is that right?
Yeah. So I filled in for Kevin Poulton on the first day, but Kevin will be coming in, and we're going to get, I think, if I can not, we'll see if I get in trouble for letting the cat out of the bag. Hopefully Kristen Armstrong will be joining in on that as well. But this is the Zwift coaching podcast, and that's going to be live. And we're actually I have plans. We're going to run the podcast in some group rides as well. So if you want to get a ride in and listen to the podcast, we're going to be sticking the podcast in some group rides as well. There's going to be a Zwift podcast ride. And so it'll be just the recorded audio. We'll run that a couple times throughout the week, so that you can catch up, get a ride in, and listen to the podcast as well.
This is a good question. One more question we're going to bring in, and then we'll let you go, Jordan. I know we have you here for a long time, but it just came through coming from Dale Stansbury. He says, will workout mode be made available for just 2 riders that want to train together with different abilities? So rather than having to create an entire event, will people be able to invite somebody, it sounds like, to their workout together in game? Rather than loading up separately and then starting separately, they can actually do a group workout that somebody is invited to, kind of like a invite to ride thing.
Yeah, so this has been one of the, as soon as we rolled out group workouts, and especially because of what we call the rubber banding feature, right, which is where you can't get dropped. This has been a huge request. And yeah, like this is one of those ones where I will say that it's coming, but I have no timeline on it. But the idea that 3 friends could get together, they all have different FTPs, and they can take advantage of the rubber banding, so that, 3 friends can get together, do the same workout, and not worry about getting dropped. That is something that we want to offer. But there's a lot of moving pieces to doing that. And I have no timeline for you, Dale, other than to say that it's been a huge request, and it's certainly something that we see the community wants, and that we want to bring. But just it's not an insignificant challenge because of, it was group workouts are an event, right? And events exist sort of as a separate module. When you join an event, we kind of know you're in an event, but making up, like you just riding, having that kind of function like an event is pretty different. So there's a lot of challenges, but ones that we want to address.
So last thing I want to chat about with workout mode is obviously Workout Wednesday. A quick little preview. We're going to get a little inception here, as Nathan's going to be in another box. But next Wednesday, we will have obviously Matt Rowe on at the usual time, which is around 1:45 p.m. CST. I believe that is 7:45 p.m. GMT. And then next week, Coach Hendy, little peek into the absolute suffering he put me through in the pre-record, as he's going to be traveling to World Champs on the track, though, over the next 3 weeks. So we did do some pre-record. We'll have some live stuff with him next week, though, too. So also the Hendy rides are going on Wednesdays as well. So Workout Wednesdays, if you want to get involved with the live streaming of the workouts, group workouts, you can get involved with that as well. Every Wednesday is kind of Workout Wednesday with the live streaming with Zwift Community Live. So that's also something we have going on with Workout Mode. So much stuff going on with Workout Mode, Jordan. It's like almost too much to talk about. I mean, this is a huge endeavor from Zwift to make one of the best training programs yet games at the same time.
Yeah, I think, it's I see it as a regularly sort of, I think it's one of those things where it's been repeated often enough that now people sort of take it as fact, but I don't understand it, is that somehow, Zwift is a less, it's a less useful or less serious tool for training. Like, oh, it's fun and it's engaging and that's great. But if you're serious about training, Zwift is not the best option. And I've never understood that. And I think, some of it is when we first launched, we didn't have workout mode. I mean, workout mode is now, I guess, about 2 years old, but it was not part of the launch. And there are some things about it, like if you join a training plan, for example, like you do the first workout, you then got to go pick the second workout and then pick the third. We don't sort of march you through it. And there are some things that we are working to fix that we sort of know that are weaknesses. But in terms of, if you want to do really serious structured training, it is there in Zwift. The workout tool is a super powerful tool. I mean,
I see someone's name here. I see someone's name here that might be kind of serious that used workouts in Zwift. Matt Heyman there with that name in there, and Kevin Polton used. I mean, yeah, it's about as serious as it gets, I think.
Yeah. So I've never really understood the criticism. I don't know what it is that, but I think maybe it's some perception. But I think, for people to understand the workouts that we have in the game, we've got a great plan. We've got great plans from Kevin. We have some fantastic workouts and plans from Hunter Allen and Peaks Coaching Group. We have a fantastic plan from the guys at Train Sharp. There is a lot of great stuff. I mean, I wish that it was easier and I'm working on that to kind of to march through it, but the content is there. The training content is there. The ability to build great workouts, for coaches, for athletes, it's all there. And I think that I really want people to realize just what an incredible training tool Zwift is. I mean, for me, I came to Zwift because it's a great training tool. Like I didn't come, I think I've done one race. I think I've done like 3 group rides, and I've done, I don't even know how many workouts. I came to this product because it's a workout tool. I continue to use it because it's a workout and training tool, and I just feel like I feel like my role is really to be an evangelist for structured training and workouts in Zwift. And I think, if you say, what is it that you want to achieve by working at Zwift? It's for people to realize just how good Zwift is as a training tool for serious training and serious athletes.
There's one last thing, actually. Sorry, one more thing. Flexible training plans. Flexible training plans. I know those are coming, right? So it's something that was being chatted about a little bit, and I think that's something we want to highlight as well. Serious training, but there's also this idea of being able to adjust as you go coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this I'll probably I think we'll get in trouble, cat out of the bag. But yeah, I mean, I think we've just recognized, as I said, I think the biggest weakness has been an accessibility one, right? That, you've got to go in, you pick day 1, and then the next day you go in and you pick day 2, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's not serving you that content. So making it function more like a training plan was a priority for us. And then we thought, well, if we're going to build that kind of feature anyway, then we want to do a better job of it. We want to do more than just say, oh, you did that yesterday, you must be here to do this today. So we've taken, I think, the best part of Zwift content, and we've merged it with what I think is Zwift's best feature overall, which is convenience. And that is probably as much as I should say.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Only criticism I have, G. Leo says, is no ability to import other types of workout files. That's a good point. and being able to be flexible there with those workout files and have an auto like communicator into the ZWO or some sort of way to take what's already, but you know, that's an issue in all of this space though. The communication of one type of file into another. You have to go to a special website in order to get your Strava file correct into the right space. And then Strava had to later down the road go, okay, we'll accept all these different kinds of files. Do you have a roadmap for we'll accept all files, or ZWO is going to be it?
You know, I mean, I think that the bigger thing is really, you know, we can parse what we can parse. And I think it's, you know, we have a partnership with Training Peaks, which I think is obviously, you know, one of the standards, right? And, you know, you write a workout in Training Peaks and it just gets pulled right into ZWIFT. So there's nothing special required there. You know, we have syncing with today's plan. You know, I think hopefully as the sort of indoor training industry grows, you know, that there will be a kind of a coalescing around a certain standard in the way that sort of fit files have now become, you know, the standard, right? I'd like to see there be a standard going the other, you know, the other way. So the fit file is now the standard output, and I'm hopeful that something will become the standard input. And I think, yeah, that's probably a discussion for a lot of folks, you know, our team, Training Peaks, Strava, and, you know, some of these other today's plan, all of these to sort of get together and say, what do we want this to look like? Because I think we don't want to solve it just for us. It's not a ZWIFT issue.
It's a workout files issue in general, standardization.
Yeah. So I think, you know, there's a lot of this. I mean, you see it even with things like Bluetooth connectivity and ANT, you know, I think there's been, you know, this was really the Wild West a lot at the beginning in terms of these standards. And now, you know, they've become more and more and more and more refined. And hopefully that will happen with workout files as well.
Right on. All right. Well, thanks for all of your time. Obviously, this was a hot topic. We had a lot of questions that came through. People are very interested in this. And hopefully we can have you back as we see workout mode develop more and more, group workout modes developed. And maybe after the FTP builder, maybe we can see how things went. That'd be kind of cool to come back and maybe get some personal stories around that and some interaction from coaches and users maybe in that space that got some benefit out of it down the road.
Yeah, I would love to hear, you know, I have this theory that group workout FTP tests will make it, you know, not fun, but at least more tolerable. And certainly would love to know if that was or was not the case.
It sounds like a great test for ZWIFT and the riders. So we'll see how that ends up going. Jordan, thanks a lot for all of your time. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon we'll hear you soon on the podcast, and we'll see you out there on the live streams real soon too, I think.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, Nathan.
Yeah, no problem, Jordan. And that was Jordan Rapp coming from his office, I believe at home, but from ZHQ. And it was great to have him on talking all things workout mode. You can always watch the VODs of all of our broadcasts over on YouTube. Our videos on demand are there, as well as over on Twitch. Anytime we do go live, twitch.tv/ZWIFT Community Live. And you'll also catch us on our Facebook as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and it's going to be up for us, I think, for the weekend. We'll see you next week here on ZWIFT Community Live.